how we're gonna do that is the topic again is called why people hate going to church. Now, there's several different reasons why people may tell you they hate going to church. Bunch of them. We can come up with 1,000. Um, for the most part, we're going to start with the first part of that is hypocrites. And so, if you don't know the definition of a hypocrite, let me get it for you real quick. Just hold tight. We're gonna start. We're gonna start here. Um, and give you Google's definition. I know the definition, but I want to give you what Google says hypocrite is. So, Google's definition is a person who indulges in hypocrisy. The true story tells of a respectable being who turns out to be a cheat and a hypocrite. What is being a hypocrite? A person who claims or pretends to have a certain belief about what is right, but who behaves in a way that's different and disagrees in those beliefs. So basically, let me simplify it for you. A hypocrite is a person who says, I don't think smoking, you should be smoking, and then they're smoking. A hypocrite is a person who says drinking is bad for you, and every time you see them, they have a drink. That is what a hypocrite is, right? So in the church, if we fast forward that to the church, in the church, um, there are many facets of what a hypocrite can be in a church setting. Um, one in particular, um, I've always said in since the beginning of the show and the broadcast, I've always said there's certain things that I wouldn't do in the church. There's certain responsibilities that I wouldn't take um, in the church, because when you take on certain responsibilities, the church sees you as a person who is a role model, a person who's respectable, a person who people can look up to, and a person who's setting a good example, right? And so a lot of times, people, of course, not none of my viewers, but people in churches oftentimes paint this picture that they are one way for the church and a completely different way outside of the church. Now, so again, remember, none of you guys, definitely none of you guys, my viewers, are, of course, none of you guys are hypocrites. I'm just saying, right? And so when you find people who are hypocritical in the church, it deters you from going to church, right? It keeps you from, to some degree, it keeps you from saying, you know what? I just think I'm just excited about going to church. You know, a lot of people are not excited about going to church because of the hypocrites. So, give me 1 second, real quick. We're gonna get this thing going real quick. See if I can get some assistance real quick um, about this topic. Just gonna take a swing at it real quick and see. And you'd be surprised. Some people who are hypocritical don't even know they're being hypocritical. You have some people who can be hypocrites and won't even acknowledge the fact that they're hypocrites. You know what I'm saying? And so when you run into those people, hang on 1 second, guys. So when you run into those people, you run into a situation where you dealing with people who are telling you one thing and doing something entirely different. And so, what's going on?
Hold on, let me turn my camera off because that's not.
What's going on?
Hey, hey,
So you got a few minutes?
yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're gonna sit. Well, if you're gonna turn your camera off, that means the people won't be able to see you.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you
You
know,
don't have to see me. You
I
don't
heard
have to
you.
see me.
I heard you. So let me ask you. Explain to me, just real quick, your version of hypocrisy in the church.
the biggest version of hypocrisy in the church, I feel like most of the time, it comes from the pastor. It kind of starts there for me.
The
Like
pastor.
it from the preacher. It starts there for me. It starts in the pulpit for me
Explain.
because it comes from a personal experience for me. My father is a preacher,
Uh-huh.
so it's a personal experience for me because I know the hypocrisy because I've seen it firsthand.
Gotcha.
So that's what they, when I say when I made the comment about people have childhood trauma
Mm-hmm.
from church, it starts at that point because I grew up in the house with somebody who was in the pulpit. So I saw the hypocrisy through and through. You get what I'm saying? Like I saw the wrong and the rights.
From now,
So
you
that's
say you
I
say, but you saying it starts with the preacher. So you saying you saw wrong from the preacher?
yeah, when you're in church, the hypocrisy is all over. It's not small. It's real big. So everybody talking about what the preacher got going on in his house. Everybody talking about. So you hear it and you see it and you know it. Like how many people just gonna make up a story? Like yeah, you got people who gonna make up stories. But when I say the hypocrisy, I honestly believe starts in the pulpit and it just trickles all the way down.
Right.
That's
Well, I'm asking that question because you said your dad was a preacher.
he is.
So,
He
so when you say you saw it firsthand, you talking about your dad?
I'm talking about my dad. Yes.
Wow.
If we're gonna be true, I'm gonna be 100%
Oh yeah, we
true.
speak on it. This is what we speak on.
Absolutely,
Yeah, this is what we speak
absolutely.
on. This is what we speak on.
So when I say the childhood trauma comes from within, when they say no, like let's just say no adultery. I saw that you a hypocrite. I saw that.
Gotcha.
I look at you as a hypocrite.
Gotcha.
Like that's what you are in my eyes.
Gotcha.
So I always tell people I've been 100% truthful when I say I can't never watch him preach because I know him.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So that's where that childhood trauma comes from because you kind of can't take your mind off of what you know to give another preacher a chance because of what you've already seen. You
Right.
get like
So
you can't look past the flesh because all you've ever seen was flesh.
right. So but let me just say this. I 100% agree with you. I don't think all preachers are the same. Let me just say that. Now
No, I don't think
I
all of
do
them are the
believe
same.
I do believe that there are some genuine uh,
Absolutely.
preachers who are standing firm
Mhm.
on principles. I believe that. Now, having said that, I do know there are some who aren't. So
Absolutely.
I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always try to say there, and I'm not saying preachers are perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I really
Mhm.
feel once you take on certain responsibilities within the church, certain things you just
Have
shouldn't
to
you
stop.
you, you just shouldn't do. You
It
know
just
what I
have
mean?
got to stop.
As a pastor, there are certain things, even though you're not perfect, right?
At all.
But
Exactly. You're
but there
not
are
perfect.
certain things as a pastor, and solely because you're preaching about, solely because you're teaching these things, you shouldn't do these things as a pastor. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with. Oh, excuse me. Agree with you to the fullest. Once you become and once you take on this role as the leader of people and as somebody who's delivering the word of God, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now again, I'm not gonna say you perfect because you're not, but you walking in a whole different light and you got all eyes on you.
Correct. Correct. And I'm gonna
And
tell you, by you being the child of a pastor and you seeing it direct,
exactly.
that's big.
That's where I say the childhood trauma comes. Now I'm not afraid to walk into church because I know what the church means to me. I can go to church, but would I go back to my childhood church? Absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not.
Wow. So let me ask you
Have I
this.
looked?
Do you have, not to cut you off, but I gotta ask
No,
you
go
this.
ahead.
Do you still have a relationship with your pops?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a it's a relationship. It's a hey, how you doing?
Right.
But all
Right.
right, I holler.
Right. And
All right,
all this is because he's a man of the cloth, and you know he'd be bullshit, basically.
exactly, exactly. And
Gotcha.
it's not to put it's not even to make him
Look
put him in
bad.
a bad light
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
not a bad person.
Right.
And again, you're always gonna be my father.
Right.
But because I know
Right.
you, because I know that, like when people say you operating in the flesh, when I know that you stand in the pulpit and you operating in the flesh, baby, I got no,
Right.
I
Right.
can't do it. I
Right.
can't do it.
Right. Right.
So that's when I say childhood trauma.
Wow.
Not that you carry it for the rest of your life, but it does spill over,
Right.
because I think the most hypocrisy that you see a lot of times is in the smaller black churches. That's where you see it a lot at. Because a lot of the members don't have nothing but time on their hands.
Right. Right.
So that's where you see a lot of it.
Wow.
But
Wow.
in bigger churches, I feel like you don't get that one-on-one experience that you sometimes need with the preacher. Like if you go to Joe Osteen and say, I need to sit down and talk to him, that's not happening. He's going to direct you to somebody else.
Right.
But in a smaller church, you can sometimes get that because he has the availability to do that.
Right.
So that's when I say, like
And I'm gonna touch on that, and we're gonna get to that bigger, smaller thing. I'm kind of breaking it down. We're gonna get to it, but I'm glad you brought it up, so I can write it down. But listen, man, I'm glad you took the call. I'm glad you gave me your insight on it. I got some other people that wants to get on. So,
absolutely.
man, look. I'm incredibly at awe that. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm at all. I'm just kind of, I don't even have the word right now because,
When you get it, let me know when you get
yeah,
it.
yeah, man, yeah. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So let's see. We got another caller. So we're gonna I'm about to call you right now, man. So your Walter McDonald's comment was some people hate church because they went a lot as a kid, and I can honestly say I don't hate it because of that. I went to church religiously as a kid a lot. I went a lot, 2 or 3 times a week as a kid. Um, but I believe there are people who hate it for that reason. I would definitely agree with that reason. I'm calling you now, so try to answer so you can get on real quick, and we can get your feedback. Well, you're not answering, so let's go somewhere else. Let's see. Let's see. Um, I'm just wow, wow, man, wow. And let me tell you something else too, man. While we wait on the answers, the phone to answer, there are a lot of people that I've learned. There are a lot of people that I've learned that just genuinely don't go to church. They just don't want to go to church. Um, they're not working. They're they're not busy. You know what I mean? They just generally don't want to go to church, and will give you every excuse in the book because I've done it. Give you every excuse in the book not to go. And the reality is, there's reasons why you won't go. There's reasons why you decide, nah, I'm a pass. You know what I mean? And so it's hard, man, when you go into an institution that's supposed to be for, you getting a closer relationship or a closer walk with God, and you're listening to somebody that you know is not telling you the right stuff. That's hard. That's a very tough situation to be in if your faith is strong, right? And so I know my grandma used to say, and a lot of people say this, read the Bible for yourself. That way you know if somebody's telling you the truth or not. And a lot of times we as people, we're lazy. We don't want to read it. We just want to hear you talk about it, and we just assume that everything you're telling us is the truth. And that's not always the case. Sometimes stuff can be fabricated. Sometimes things can be said that aren't accurate. And if you're not reading it for yourself, you're not going to know that. You're just going to assume that those things that are being told to you are in the Bible. I mean, I remember I was in high school and I had a teacher named Mr. Blackman. And Mr. Blackman always had a saying when we left, when class was out. Mr. Blackman would always say, cleanliness is next to godliness. It's in the Bible. And one day I never forget. I went, and me and Mr. Blackman we used to kind of not argue, but we would debate a lot. And I went to my uncle, rest in peace, and I said, is cleanliness next to godliness in the Bible? And he said, no. And I went back to Mr. Blackman. I said, Mr. Blackman, that ain't in the Bible. He said, yes, it is. I said, well, where's that? Because my uncle's a pastor, and he told me it ain't in the Bible. So if it's in the Bible, show me where it is. And he couldn't show me. Now, there's references to it, sure. But that particular phrase, cleanliness is next to godliness, is not in the Bible. It's just a popular phrase that we like to use. And so, from that moment on, I started realizing you got to start doing your own research and your own homework, because people would, not to say he was just telling me anything, but I'm just using that for a point of reference. You got to do your own research. You got to do your own reading. You know what I mean? In order for you to really, truly know what's facts and fiction, the difference between what's facts and what's fiction. So, with that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic. So, question for you guys, man. Question for you guys. Do you guys feel or believe that the church has cliques? Do you guys believe that the church has cliques? Yes or no? Yes or no? I'm going to tell you right now, I say absolutely 1,000% yes. The church has cliques. I believe it with everything in my heart. The church has cliques. Now, let me just tell you this. Male and female cliques don't necessarily have to be all women. There's male cliques. Yeah, there's cliques. There's people who sorry about that, guys. There's people who deal with people more than they deal with you. And I know that's a relationship thing. And so a lot of times when you have a relationship with certain people treat you a certain way. When you don't have a relationship with people, other people treat you a certain way. Now I'll tell you this. I have been fortunate, and I use the word fortunate because blessed is it's an understatement. But I've been extremely fortunate to have ran into some really genuine people that for me that have really treated me genuinely in the church. I don't think I've ever really that knowingly. I don't think I've ever knowingly had people who were disingenuous directly to me. If they were, they never said it to me. They probably were saying it to somebody else and things like that. But for the most part, I've had people around me who were genuine, who were just really stand up people. I tell you, most of you, if not all of you, know that I have not had a perfect life. And so, anytime you get in trouble, you know what I'm saying, or you go to jail or something happens, the black family always try to hide that. It happens anytime, especially if the church is used to seeing you and all of a sudden the church don't see you and they're like, hey man, how's your son? How's your grandson? And nobody's seeing you. There's always a lot of questions. And so when I came home, I didn't really want to go to church. Church was not like my favorite place to go, right? And so my grandma wasn't having it. She's like, yeah, you going to church. This is what we do. You going to church. And I was like, man, I don't want. I've been gone 5 years. I don't want to see them people, man, because they're going to start asking me what happened, where I've been. I don't want to answer all them questions, and people going to be looking at me crazy and all that. And this is the truth. This is not made up. This is facts. You know, we speak on it here, man. We call it what it is. And my grandma wasn't having it. She's like, yeah, you going. Not only are you going to go, but you're going to go and you're gonna apologize to the church. You're gonna stand up in front of the church and God, and you're gonna explain your situation and you're gonna ask these people for forgiveness. Yeah. And I was like, what? Man, I'm not doing that. No. I'm not getting in front of these people, and no, there's no way I'm doing that. And if you a lot of y'all don't know my grandma, rest in peace, my queen bee. No is not even in the Rolodex for this woman, man, right? And so I did. I listened to my grandmother. I obeyed, and I went in front of my church congregation. Some of y'all know this. If some of y'all, we friends, you know, we go, you know, some of my family members for sure. But y'all know this to be true, right? And I stood up in front of the congregation and did just what I was told to do. I did that. And I know after doing that, that changed some stuff. That gave some people a different, you know, way to look at me and this and that. But for the most part, people still remembered the kid that I was before. People still said, hey, and I still got the same love, for the most part, that I was getting before I went away. So that's why, if you heard me, there are some genuine people in the church. I don't think everybody's terrible. There's a lot of genuine people in the church, but I do believe that you have cliques in the church. You know what I mean? I generally believe the church has cliques. And so a lot of times we get into situations where if you don't know the cliques, let's see, if you don't know the cliques, then you're not gonna really know that it's a clique. You kind of have to pay attention and watch and different things like that for you to be able to see that. But they exist. They definitely exist.
Hello?
What's going on, man? You own with the spree. You got a few minutes?
Yeah.
So let me ask you. This is Walter McDonald I'm speaking to, people. Walter McDonald's statement was a lot of people don't like going to church because they went so much as a kid. So let me ask you this. Do you go to church?
Yes.
You do go to church. Okay. So you're not one of the people who don't go to church because you went forever as a kid.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I go to church.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
I understood exactly what the woman earlier was talking about.
Right.
Because my stepdad was a preacher also.
Wow.
And my mother, my mother dated preachers. And I've seen as a child the things that was happening in the church, you know, they kind of backed me away.
With the preacher?
Huh?
With the preacher? You saw things with the preacher?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I could sit at home. I was sitting at home, and the preacher had spent the night at my house. And we went to church the next day, and he was sitting on the pulpit like it was strong, because it was pastor's Sunday, pastor's anniversary.
So now let me hold on. Hold on.
First lady.
Hold on. So was the pastor married?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. Go ahead, continue. Because I didn't ask that, so I didn't know if the pastor was single and but okay, I got you now. Go ahead.
The pastor was married.
Wow.
And
Okay.
there was things that the preacher was doing and stuff that I've seen as a child that was going on.
Wow.
That I knew that a preacher wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
So it kind of bagged me out from going to church as much as I used to when I was a child. My grandmother owned a church, True Missionary Baptist Church in Third Ward on Brewer Street.
Wow.
And I used to go there all the time. And then I seen all the things that was happening. And I know my stepfather was a preacher. My youngest brother's daddy was a preacher.
Wow.
Yeah, and I seen all the things that was happening. But I had to learn, that sometimes you can't look at the individual, because some people, God used people in all kinds of different ways. Some people are mean, evil, and things like that.
Wow.
But sometimes those people has the Holy Spirit into their body when they're on the pulpit preaching. They're not the same person that is on the streets and stuff like that.
So let me ask you.
Have to pay attention to that.
Let me ask you this. You 100% right, because you can't. Once you get it, there's nothing you can do about it. Once you get it. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Are there cliques in the church? Do cliques exist in the church?
And what do you mean by a clique?
Groups of people, cliques, like groups of people who commune together and always around each other. Same groups of people may like each other, but not other people.
I'm just.
Clique is a different word for gang, kind of like a gang, but not so much.
I'm explaining this to you in a very simple way. That you're not a sinner because you sin. You were born out of sin and iniquity. So to be able to get back with God and Jesus, you have to be born again. That means you are born again out of all that sin and iniquity. And in another way, there are preachers that got big churches that should not be preachers because they're not in it to save souls.
Wow.
They're in it for the money.
Wow. So now let me say this. I 1000% agree with that. Me and you agree 1000% on that. But now, again, do you believe the church has cliques?
I thought I explained that.
No, you didn't explain that to me. You explained something else. But what I'm trying to ask you is, I don't know about.
That's in the neighborhood. If you go to South Park, they got a clique in the neighborhood.
Correct.
There's clique. If you go to the Potter House or to the big church on 59 with Osteen.
Correct.
They got cliques for everybody.
Correct.
Everybody.
Correct.
Got a clique.
So you're agreeing that they do exist.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm getting at. Yeah, that's all I was trying to get at.
You call them disciples.
Yeah, that's all I was getting at.
Yeah.
That's all I was getting at.
They call them disciples.
Yeah, that's all I was getting at.
It is
So
kind of like a clique.
Right. So now, one last question, because I got somebody else I got to get on. One last question for you, man. Um, do you believe? And I want you to answer this for me honestly. Honestly, do you believe? You talking about you, nobody else. Talking about you. Do you believe that gospel music has gone too far?
Do I believe that gospel music has gone too far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
With all the, gospel music is for the gospel. Now they trying to change it.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked you that.
Hip hop and everything, like Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, but listen. The reason why I asked you that because part 2, I'm gonna have you back on, because we're gonna get into that. That's why I asked you. I just wanted to know where you was with it, because tomorrow is gonna be part 2, and I'm gonna have you back on. We're gonna get into it. All right. So,
all right.
Man, I appreciate you taking the call, man. I appreciate you giving me your input. I got to get another call on, but stay tuned, because tomorrow we're gonna wrap up part 2.
All right.
All right. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Man. So listen, man, before I get this next caller on, I gotta listen. It's so imperative that we talking about these topics, right? We speaking genuinely. Because gospel, I'm gonna tell you now, gospel is a topic most people don't want to touch. Gospel is a topic that most people, for the most part, most people don't want no parts of. Most people try to stay away from, because they're worried about how somebody gonna feel about it, what somebody gonna say about it, the blasphemy part, effect part of it, and these things of that nature. But when you have people who genuinely get on the show and say, yeah, I saw it firsthand. Yeah, I lived that. You know what I mean? Like, I saw this happen in live. Like, yeah, this is truth. And we talking about in the past. So if things that are true to form, nothing gets worse. I mean, nothing gets better. It gets worse. So if you saw it in the past, it's got to be prevalent right now in the future. That's all I'm saying. So let's get another caller on. Man, look at here. I knew when I decided to agree to this topic, it was gonna be explosive. I knew it. I knew when I said, yeah, we talk about it, we can get off into it. I knew it was gonna be something that a lot of people were gonna be able to say, yeah, absolutely. This is what it is. This happens. And listen, the clicks, as much as we may not want to agree, it's a reality. It's a reality. You know what I mean? It's a reality. Hang on one second, guys. Let me get somebody on real quick. It's gonna get good now. See, this is what I mean by interaction. This is what I mean by having positive dialogue and feedback between more than one person. Because when you can have this type of interaction, you have the ability to converse about things that are genuinely factual. And a lot of times we don't want to talk about those things. We want to duck those things. Right? So hang on one second. Let's see if we can get somebody on real quick. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Hopefully, I'm hoping. Hey, how are you? You on with Spree, man? You got a few minutes? I say you went to Spree. You got a few minutes? I said, hang on. Let me call you from a different line, because it sounds like you out. Let's see. Let's get her on a different line because I know she gonna have something real jazzy for me. Again, you guys, if you have not liked the page, the official page, go to it, like it. Uh, and we gonna keep it pushing. Let's see. Hello.
Please leave your message.
Well, what's going on? She putting. Let's see. I can't get my man. At any rate.
Please leave your message.
Oh well. Sometimes people don't want to be bothered when they know they own with the spree. You know what I mean? I try not to be polarizing or intimidating. I try to be kind of have the playing fields level. But I'm just as real, man. I'm gonna give it to you raw. I don't know any other way to give it to you. I don't know any other way to do it. I just genuinely feel like when we talking about topics that we really need to get off into, we need people that really want to get off into it. And a lot of times people are afraid to really get off into it. And so when that's the case, you have to have people who don't mind getting off into it. Let's see. All right, let's see. We trying something different today, y'all. We trying a whole different approach. We shaking some stuff up today. Yeah. Hey, Lynn, what's up? You on with Spree? You got a few minutes?
Huh?
I said you on with the Spree. You got a few minutes?
To get online?
I just want to ask you a couple questions. You got a few minutes?
I do. Go ahead.
Cool. So I have a podcast show, right? And the topic for the show today is why people hate going to church. That's the topic of the show. We done been into it, so I'm shaking some stuff up. So I got a question for you.
Okay.
Right? So do you think what you wear to church says anything about you as a person?
Yeah, I do think it says something, yes.
How so?
Because people typically wear and dress the way that they look and feel. It's a part of, culturally, it has been a part of your statement to the world. It's a part of who you are, the way that you carry yourself.
So I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So before you get dressed to go to church, you think about or you process what people are gonna say.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. Well, I'm asking. I'm asking.
No. I'm going to tell you. I'm saying that people typically dress the way that they pick their clothes out the way that they are. They not even just that day at the store when they buy them. They pick their clothes out and they put they attire together based on how they dress and how they feel. So yeah, if you go to church with a bonnet on, then that's how you feel. That's the caliber of as far as you're gonna go. You see, I see it all the time, not necessarily in church, but just how people carry themselves in general. But if we're specifically talking about church,
yeah, just church.
I still think people carry themselves the way that they feel or the way that they want to project themselves to the world. Yeah.
So having said that, do you believe in the statement, come as you are?
Yes.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Because that's still who you are.
Huh. So you don't think that nothing's off limits?
No, I didn't. No,
I'm asking.
I do think that some stuff I do believe that some stuff is off limits, but if you tell people to come as they are, you can't still say something when they come as they are.
even because you're assuming when you tell people to come as you are,
Uh-huh.
you are assuming that they have a certain respect for themselves
Right.
to come as they are. That's what you're assuming because we're still typically dealing with adults.
But that's not always the case.
It's not. You're absolutely right. It's not always the case.
See, I believe, I truly believe the statement "come as you are" should have never been a statement.
Okay.
And
I can see why you would think.
yeah, and the reason why I say that is, and I had an old man tell me this before. Old man,
Mm-hmm.
clothes really don't cost that much. Church clothes,
Right.
church clothes.
Right.
I mean, let's be real. Church clothes don't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't. They cheap. Church clothes is the cheapest clothes money can buy. Unless you going in Versace or something, you going in the Galleria getting them. But for the most part, your church clothes ain't really costing what your casual clothes are costing. I mean, with the exception of maybe some hats. You probably spend a little change on some hats and maybe shoes. But your clothes, yeah, but the clothes don't really cost that much bread. You know what I mean? I know. I can't speak for women, but I know for me, I bought clothes out of thrift store for about 2 or 3 years, and nobody knew it. They just knew I was coming up out of the men's high fashion, but I was spending $10 and getting 2 or 3 pairs of slacks, 3 or 4 shirts, 2 or 3 ties, and putting them in the cleaners and looking like I was a deacon. You know what I'm saying?
But that was because you going to church looking a certain way was important to you. That's why.
Correct.
That was important to you.
You 100% correct. You're 100%
I
correct.
think to add to what you just said, I think the "come as you are" statement was to eliminate the excuses that I need to have dress clothes on. I believe that's where it came from.
But I think that was the problem.
Yeah, I don't believe it's "come as you are." Like if you're gonna come in and disrespect yourself on the church, I don't believe that's where it was. I believe it meant "come as you are," even if you don't have any money to buy clothes,
Right.
they'll accept you with the clothes that you have on.
Right. Now I agree with
think
that.
some people get that confused, but I believe that's where that statement came from. "Come as you are." So if you're homeless and you don't have any clothes, we're not gonna close our door.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Get this word.
I
So
agree
I
with
believe
that.
that's where that statement came from.
Yeah,
So I get what you're saying,
yeah.
but I do believe that that's where it came from. Meaning, "come as you are" does not mean come in here with a mini skirt on with half your ass hanging out.
Right.
That's
Now
not-
I
that's
agree
not
with
what
that.
that is.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But you know what they say: you give a person an inch, they take a mile. So for me, I mean, and the reason why I asked that question is because there's so many different answers.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I had to ask a person that I felt like was in the right mind frame to understand why I asked the question first of all, but secondly to understand why I think the statement is kind of inaccurate because see, here's the deal. And this is just me talking. This is me talking. Church is supposed to be a place, and again, we're talking about supposed to be. Church is supposed to be the one place where you don't think about anything going on in the outside world. Church is supposed to be the place that you go to get rid of all your heavy load, all your burdens, all your problems, all your issues, right?
Right.
But instead of it being that place, church is a place you go because you want to dress up. You want people to look at you nice. You want people. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Church has become a place of almost like a club to some degree.
Absolutely.
You sitting with you hanging with certain people. You know what I'm saying? You're dressing a certain way like certain people. You behaving like certain people. You gossiping with certain people. You talking about certain people. And I'm telling you what I've seen firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So if church is supposed to be a certain way, and we're supposed to see it a certain way, right? We're supposed to see it a certain way. Because here's the thing. Here's the unique dynamic, right? Even though we say, yeah, I want you to come. I don't care. It don't matter to me. I want you to come as you are. If you don't have nothing, show up, right?
Right.
But when you walk in high heels and a miniskirt, looking like you work on Bensonet, there should be a conversation. Not necessarily a member of the church, the pastor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily a person who's sitting in the pews,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who's gonna leave church and hit happy hour, but the pastor. The pastor should say, "Hey, I'm happy to see you. You know, we always accept the new members, but this is not how you want to present yourself. If this is all you got, that's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But guess what I know? A mini skirt costs more than a regular skirt.
Mm-hmm. And you chose to pick that up when you bought whatever you bought.
You bought this from Charles,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. That's fine if that's what you want to buy. It's your money, but it ain't appropriate in here. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times that's why I said, now obviously I can't get into, because we got into the hypocrites and the hypocritical and all that. It ain't about, to me, that ain't about being hypocritical. Because from my vantage point, if you don't have it, you don't have it. Period. Period.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you've been going to this same church with these same people for X amount of years, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the wardrobe to some degree.
Yeah.
You know to some degree who this person is, or if this person is capable of purchasing something different. See, for a long time, we know for a long time pants wasn't, women couldn't wear pants in the church. You wore pants, when I was coming up, if you was a woman and you wore pants in the church, they had a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a problem. You couldn't come into church as no woman with no pants on. They wasn't having that. Right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Now, man, they wear them all the time.
Yeah, you can come in with jeans.
Man, they ain't just got business pantsuits. They wearing blue jeans. You can wear blue jeans in the church.
Yeah, you can wear blue jeans.
You know what
Well, I
I'm
guess
saying?
if you can wear mini skirts, you should be able to wear blue jeans.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just speaking on it. That's all. I'm just speaking on it. I don't have, me personally, I'm not hypocritical to that degree, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I ain't always got my best stuff on when I go. You know, I don't always have my best stuff on. I'm guilty of being relaxed when I get dressed to go, because everybody else is relaxed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm guilty of, I might put on me a t-shirt and go, you know, or throw my J's on and walk up in there, because I'm noticing that's the norm. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, that's the norm.
Everybody's doing it. Now that ain't to say I should be doing it because everybody else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it's the norm.
Yeah.
If I walk in there with a 3-piece suit on, I feel overdressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cleaning in the Safeway chicken, and then everybody looking at me like, man, where you going? Somebody died, you want your funeral when you leave here? Like, this is the only somebody wearing suits in the church is the deacons. The pastors don't even wear them that much no more.
So don't. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, I wanted to ask that question because I really felt like who wears the best hat don't really matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
that don't really mean nothing. You know what I mean? You know.
That's self-expression, like I was saying
Yeah,
earlier.
it's
How
cool
you
and
dress,
everything,
how
but
you dress.
your hat ain't getting you in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, self-expression. People dress how they dress for whatever reason they do it for. They pick their clothes out the way they pick them out. It's their self-expression. But like you said, I believe that come as you are. Getting back to your topic, I just believe the come as you are kind of went too far, and we didn't understand the definition of that.
Right.
Sure.
You know what? I think I'm not gonna say we didn't understand. I just really believe that we got to a point to where we got extremely comfortable. We didn't want to ruffle feathers. We didn't want to run people off. I had one of the callers on before you said church is a business now. So the more people you have in the church, the more money you get.
The more business.
You know, obviously everybody don't tithe. And listen, this is the last thing I'm gonna say before I let you go. And I no excuse for it at all. But I'm speaking on. I'm keeping 100. I've stopped tithing a long time ago because for real, I stopped tithing a long time ago because I really felt like, and even though I know it ain't my place, because once I do what I do, I shouldn't worry about it, right? But there was something that happened at my church many years ago, and the funds got misappropriated, right? For lack of a better word. Yeah. And so I never told nobody this ever in life. I never uttered a word to this until now. And it came out, the funds were misappropriated. Okay. And I said, wait a minute. We putting all our money, we getting that, we paying our tithes and doing all this shit and offering the church, getting this bag, and the money gone? Man, what is going on, man?
That part.
What? And after that, I never put money in the envelope. Every now and then, special occasions, I put a 20 or 10 or 20 in the envelope, whatever, and don't even write my name on the envelope. But the general offering, I always drop a couple bucks in the general offering. But the tithes, I stopped that. I said, oh no, I ain't, no, and that's bad because I need to get back into that. I need to. That shouldn't identify, But that's the truth. That's the true story. That happened. You know what I mean? That's the true story to that. So listen, man, I appreciate you for taking my call. I know you're a busy person. You got several businesses you're running. You're doing your thing. I'm extremely honored to have you even just say hello. You know what I'm saying? So part 2 is tomorrow. Stay tuned because I may need you for part 2 because part 2 gonna be super explosive. It's gonna be oh my God.
Yeah, don't catch me off guard.
I got you. Well, you know what? You know what? The best. Believe it or not, the best content is the content you're not expected to get.
You're probably right.
That's the best content. It's like pictures. When somebody say pose, get ready, you don't even like them pictures most times. You don't. You're like, I don't like that one. Delete it.
Yeah.
The best pictures are the ones you never expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sneaky ones. Those are the best ones. So, hey, man, I appreciate you. Always, man. Much love, sis. Good looking out. And stay tuned for tomorrow's show, man.
Will do. What time you on?
It's probably going to be around the same bad time. But I'll give you a heads up beforehand.
I got you.
All right, appreciate it.
I want to be available.
Appreciate it.
All right, y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Man, listen. The show has gotten to the point to where there's some really good points that I want to save for tomorrow's show. And the reason why I want to save those is because I'm starting the Sunday segment where I'm only doing gospel on Sunday. Topics are only gospel on Sunday, and I don't want to overdo it tonight. But let me tell you something, and I'm saying this. I'm speaking on it. That's my new catchphrase. Speak on that shit. Listen, man. Church, as much as I don't like the fact that there are a lot of stuff going on inside those temple walls that shouldn't. We all have our own cross to bear. We all have our own journey we got to take with the man, right? And so I truly believe this with all my heart. Whether you go to church or don't go, you can still have a genuine relationship with God, or Allah, or whoever you want to call him. You can still have a genuine relationship, whether you go or don't go. You can still study the Bible without going. You can still pray without going. You can still have faith and worship without going. I just think when you go, it's a lot easier because you have help. You're not alone. And so the click part of it is sometimes people are more comfortable with praying or speaking or talking to certain people because certain people make you feel more comfortable. You have some people who rule the shit in the church. You have some people you don't want no parts of because they're not there for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'll tell you, when you run into those people, go the other way. When you run into people who are genuinely just rude and not genuinely happy to see you be a part of that church, go the other way. Go the other way. Let God deal with them. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, we're going to shut it down and we'll pick back up with part 2 tomorrow. Listen, I'm always incredibly honored, man, to have some time to kick it with my people. Always. It don't matter if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever time they give me for you guys to come on and see me do what I do, I'm thankful for it, right? Again, I ain't gonna always be politically correct. I don't want to be. I'm not gonna always say everything you like or you agree with. I don't want to. I'm only gonna express how I feel, and that's gonna be the end of it. I welcome the debate. I love it, man. I love the Q&A. I love the dialogue and the audience interaction is a beautiful thing. I implemented the calls today because I wanted to try something different. I'll find out. We go back and look at the audio and look at the videos after how it went. But I'm excited about where we're going with the show in the future, man. I'm extremely excited about it. I got a lot of people pushing me, man. I got a lot of people behind me that is supporting the movement. A lot. And of course, you always got people who won't support it. And that's okay too, because you need that motivation. You got to have it. So with that being said, I'm out, man. Tonight, this episode of The Street Speaks is over. Notice you see HHD on top of the hat, and you see right here a balled up fist with a money sign that says, let me turn this up, you can pull this up, hustle hard daily. I got a saying that always says, stay humble and hustle hard daily. And a hustle don't always have to be bad. Y'all be good, man. Until next time, I'm out.